Now on to our last topic. Rashee Rice, X Factor. So Pro Football Focus mentioned that the X Factor for the Chiefs this season is wide receiver Rashee Rice. Now he did show up uh and show out last year when we asked for him to do that. He was our guy who was the yak guy who was getting the yards after the catch and making a lot of big plays, getting us downfield. And he kept that going into the postseason as well too. Having his first 100-yard game in the postseason against the Miami Dolphins. Rice is still set to miss time though, due to his his mishaps and the incidents that had this offseason. One of them, of course, it looks like has got cleared up and then charges was dropped, but he's still dealing with the vehicle situation that's going on, and they're waiting for that to go to trial and get that taken care of. Now, the hope is to get that done as soon as possible, but it is potential that it could be pushed to the 2025 season. Regardless of when he's coming back or if he's going to play the full season or not, is he the new X Factor in Kansas City coming up this season? Let's start with you, Clinton.
Ooh, I think prior to this offseason, I would have said there's no doubt about it. But I think ultimately, based on the offseason that he's had and just the fact that he's not a rookie anymore, there's no longer this mystique or, randomness to it. I really do think Rashee got the benefit of being the best wide receiver on the team last year, and most of the attention always going to Travis Kelce every single time. And I think that Rashee was able to capitalize off of that, and we're grateful for that. We're thankful, and that he was able to ball out. But we were asking a lot for a rookie wide receiver in an Andy Reid offense. Like I said, he's the first of his kind, other than Tyreek Hill, and even Tyreek did not have as big of an impact that he was eventually go to have for the Chiefs and now Miami Dolphins. So I would argue that it's almost shifted it to Hollywood Brown, because he is the version of wide receiver that is unknown within this offense. So it is the one that there's not a lot of expectations or, conceptions about what it could end up being, and his impact on the team. Whereas Rashee Rice pretty much had his identity established, by week 4 of last year. And I think now that there's a full off season of tape to look at him and see where he struggles and see what could potentially match up against him on the other side, on the quarterback side of the field. We might not see the same type of impact that Rice had last season this season, and we may not see the numbers that he got last year, basically being one of, if not the sole best option the Chiefs had at wide receiver. I just think that they've changed up the room enough that there's some new options in there, and I think that may impact Rashee Rice's statistics for the Chiefs going forward.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna say Rashee Rice is the X factor, because the X factor, as long as he's here and as long as he always will be here, will always be Travis Kelce. He's always the X factor. These other guys are supporting casters until he's gone. So these are the guys that are just gonna get the guys that are not guarding Travis Kelce, the 2 or 3 guys that are guarding Travis. These are the guys that may be occupying them. So I wouldn't say he's an X factor. I think there's a ton of different factors, X factors, when it comes to the Chiefs, not just one player. I think that's what made them special last year. They were able to get him and Pacheco and Kelce going. It was a more traditional offense, running a more running style offense, a more run heavy offense, play action heavy offense. Something that we just haven't seen a lot of from Andy Reid. They totally changed the whole shape of the way that they played the game last year. Made it more Bill Belichick-esque, should I say? So I don't think he's the X factor. I think these other guys like Hollywood Brown, outlying factors like Kadarius Toney, people like Sky Moore, these other guys coming in as far as like wide receivers, and I think those are Wiley, the tight end. I think those are going to be the X factors. I think those are going to be the people that he's trying to figure out and lean on. Like Clint said, if anybody, I think this falls on Hollywood Brown, being that he's a veteran. And he's established himself, and he knows, like you said, he's made those adjustments. He's been in the league for multiple years, so he knows what corners are going to try and do to him. I think that's a big ask of Rashee Rice. But I think those other guys that have some time and been established, and even the new guys, young guys coming in, they have an opportunity to sneak up on people. And the older guys have a chance to take advantage of their wisdom on guys. But when you're in that sophomore space, you usually see a sophomore slump, like Clint said. So I don't want to put that on Rashee Rice, but I don't think he's the X factor. I think that the Chiefs they know what's coming down the line, and I'm pretty sure they've planned around that. Unfortunately, so I don't know how far he's worked into that game plan still, but I don't know if he's that big of an X factor. I really don't think he's still an X factor. I'm sorry.
So truthfully, honestly, I'm going to go with saying that he can and will be the X factor this season. I think we all may have somewhat different versions of a definition, but it's a guy that's skillful, right? But when I look at the X factor, somewhat I compare it to when we had our X factor back in the day, Dante Hall. Was Dante Hall literally the best player on the team? No, but he made a lot of great plays, and he made some phenomenal returns, kick returns, and also punt returns as well too when the Kansas City Chiefs needed it. With Rashee Rice, I think him coming back after the suspension, after everyone had a little taste of Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown and seeing how that offense is moving, of course, that we have Travis Kelce. I don't give Travis Kelce that title because it's like he's that guy. That's how I feel. Like you're that guy. We know what you're capable of. We know what you're bringing to the table. It's no element of surprise for you. Rashee Rice, he still had some things that he had to work on within his game. He had to get better with the deep routes, and he was able to connect with Mahomes towards the end of the season in that Bengals game, right? But he still had a little more that he had to add to his arsenal, and he's still been working on it this offseason, regardless of the issues that he has had. So I think when he comes out and then we see him play, we're going to be like, oh, the elevation of what we seen last year coming into this season, and then you're bringing more elements to the offense as well too. I think we're going to be like, whoa, wow, that looks great. I like how this is coming together, because now we have gotten all three phases of the offense that we went in back. We got Kelce, who is our guy who's going to be doing the intermediate routes, playing in the middle, doing all of that, right? You got Hollywood Brown, who is going to be our deep ball threat. We saw it in camp today as well, too, where him and Mahomes were able to connect, and it looked awesome. It looked great. You got Xavier Worthy, who's going to bring that speed element, who's going to be our motion shift guy, who's going to be able to do all of that. And then you bring back Rashee Rice. Say if it was the 8 games on that 9th game, and don't forget, we got an early bye week as well too. So once he gets back and the train is running, and then you have a guy who's catching it, 5 or 10 yards out, and then making a play after the ball as well too, after the catch as well too. I think we're gonna be like, ooh, okay. We might just give up 1,000 yards right now, y'all. That's not happening, depending on the games yet. He's not getting that, and we got too many weapons on offense now. So he might not get that, and we still got Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield as well too. We're gonna have to run the ball. We're gonna have to spread it out. But I think he's gonna be the guy towards the end of the game. Get it to him, get downfield, get the yardage, keep the clock running, going in, going out, just showing in year 2 that he has matured regardless of what he has been through this offseason. I think we're gonna be excited for that. Now, if he's not an X factor, hey, it is what it is. I can be wrong. I would love for someone else to step up. Damn, Kadarius Toney, you do it.
Please.
Like, for real.
You better be out of here,
So,
buddy.
Yeah.
I know you want to say something.
But,
Yeah, I think I'm back full circle. I think since we're not so worried about his health and that everything is just holding him back, just to be showcasing it once the NFL season kicks off. His name starts with X, for crying out loud. And when I think of X Factor, I think of the player who's going to make a sneaky impact and maybe doesn't have all the pressures and the expectations put on them. And I think we all believe that Rashee Rice has that because he's second year in the NFL and he's shown himself to be a star player. Hollywood Brown has already been around the NFL long enough to be a seasoned veteran. So I think the sneaky one out of the wide receiver room is Xavier Worthy. So I think Zay X makes perfect sense for him to be the X factor for this team. And we're all just hoping that his injuries are not major and that he gets to put his speed to good use, because the Chiefs last year were definitely missing that speed and going deep aspect. And after not having it for one season, the Chiefs are dead set on making sure that they have that option every year going forward in some capacity.
yeah, and I was just gonna say I think how they use him is gonna tell us a lot about like the legal situation. I feel like going into what we're about to go into, because I don't want this to be a situation where and Dale's seen it before. You know how like rappers when they go to turn themselves in, they'll make a whole bunch of music. And get ready to like, okay, I gotta live off of this before I have to go to jail, and then I come out. Either way, I don't want it to be where Rashee Rice is like, oh my God, he's running it up to score, he's doing what you said, Dale, he's going crazy, oh my God, and all now, we get smacked with a 5-game suspension, and we lose all the momentum in the season. So it's like, I want it, we want it, but I feel like going into these OTAs and going into the training camp, that'll tell us a lot. How they're using him and what they're doing with him, I think will tell us a lot. If their offense is dependent on that, I don't think he's gonna. He may not be the one that's gone, or they may have somebody just following him a foot in step, kind of just learning what he does if he's really gonna be that key. But preying on a guy that you know may not be there, I can't see Andy Reid doing something like that. Now, and I know he's going to tell them they're all going to be the guy, but we all know in reality, you're going to have somebody. Okay, when the going gets tough and that suspension does come down, because it's going to come down, whether it comes down this year or next year, you better have an answer. So you better find the answer now. So I think that going into this season is going to tell us a lot.
Yeah, we're getting close now, right? Mandatory minicamp is starting, so people got to start showing up. If you're not coming, some fines. I don't think the Chiefs are having any issues with that because pretty much everyone that we needed to be locked up is locked up. We traded a guy who wanted that money, and attended on getting that money, so they got that done early on, and then we were able to pay Chris Jones, and he showed up to the voluntary OTAs, like I think like a week or so later, and ready to go. And Travis Kelce's back as well too, so looks like the boys are ready to get it. They ready to get prepared for this upcoming season. Of course, they're looking for that three-peat, and hey, next man up if it's needed. So Rashee Rice, either way it goes, I think we have high hopes for you regardless. It's just depending on the impact or when that suspension actually comes in is where we'll say like, hey, you'll be the X factor or not. But talent on both sides of the ball, I think they're prepared. Reed got the offense ready to go. Spags got the defense ready to go. Dave Toom got special teams ready to go. So all three phases is ready to compete. They're ready to have fun. They're ready to go out there and ball out. They got their visit done with the White House already as well too. So hey, time to get back to work.